one day, one cold February morning, well, what do you do in the morning? I get up and I check my email. Now I'm on Facebook. So I checked my email. It's about 6 years ago. And the email, and I'm looking through things, and one comes up and it says, "We want you write musical, how much?" And I went, what? Who gets an email like that? And then it said, "Call this number in Dubai." I said, Dubai? Well, I was really ignorant. I had to look it up. And I Googled Dubai and I saw money and oil wells and lots of dollar signs. And I went, oh my God. But I don't want to call Dubai. So I wrote back and I said, no, you call me. The phone rang immediately. I went, hello, we want you to write musical. How much? I went, whoa, hold on a minute. What do you mean? First of all, I don't know what you want. Where is it going to be? When is it going to be? I've been a licensing agent. I know about these things. How many seats are you selling? What's the ticket price? No, they couldn't speak much English. He said, no, you write questions, email, we answer. Okay, so I hung up. I called my agent. I was with ICM, the big agency. And I said, I got an email that said, we want you to write musical. How much? He said, oh, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Nothing's going to happen. That. It's a joke. It's like when you get the emails, send us your social security number and we'll send you $1 million. But I said, no. You write to them and you tell them we want the moon. And you ask for a really high amount. So he did. He wrote and asked for a lot of money. And they wrote back, no. But they told us some information. We found out that the show was not going to be in Dubai, but was going to be in Qatar. Qatar, and it was going to be just one night only for the Emir of Qatar and 1,000 of his closest friends. And so we were, okay, we know what it is now. And I said, well, what will it be about? And they wrote back and said, it's to be about a little boy who wants to go to a sports academy and his father won't let him. And I went, sounds like My Fair Lady. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I said, listen, why don't you go back to them and ask how much they will pay? And he came back with a number that was almost what we asked. And I said, take it! I want that money! I want to do this! I won't even have to write in English, I won't have to rhyme! Well, I did. And then I said, what about the composer? Well, I have worked with all these composers, you've seen them, and I gave their names, and we got back, no. And I don't know, why are they rejecting people they don't know? But they said, we have composers in Lithuania and Rome. And I said, I don't want to go to Lithuania and Rome. I want to write here in New York. Well, time goes by, we're negotiating. And I said, well, I want first class airfare. They come back with business class. I said, I want to stay in that sailboat hotel in Dubai. I saw it online. They said it's booked for 5 years. We're going back and forth, and then finally, I'm going off to do my show Saturday night at Grossingers, which is another version of Grossingers in LA. And I'm in LA, and I'm watching them hurrah around, and my cell phone rings, and I go, hello, and he goes, you come to Dubai and write show. For 6 weeks you stay in my office. I said, I'm not coming to stay in your office for 6 weeks. I can't, I'm here with my Jewish show. Click. He called back. He said, okay, you come. I said, no. And who's the composer? Well, it took a little while, but I got an email while I was in LA, and it said, you will write show with David Crane. I said, he doesn't sound Lithuanian. Okay. I looked him up. I knew who he was. He had been an orchestrator and a dance arranger, and I didn't know him really as a composer, but he had just done the movie of Chicago. He did all the musical arrangements. This is somebody great. I emailed him, I called him on the phone, I said, let's meet when I get back to New York. He said, oh, this isn't gonna happen, but sure, let's meet. So we met upstairs at the TikTok Diner. Not kidding. And we walked in, we didn't know each other. We walked in, I'm looking around, and I looked right at this person, I went, oh, it's like looking at a short Jewish mirror. You'll see him tonight. He's the exact same height. He has a little less hair, but he was the same, and we were both from Brooklyn. We both had mothers we wanted to kill. We sat down, we both ordered tuna on toast. It was so weird. I said, listen, what, did they have a height requirement here? Is that why they picked us? He said, listen, I got to tell you, I'm happy that we're doing this, but I don't think it's going to happen, number one. And number two is, I'm not going to the Middle East. I said, what do you mean? We have to go. They're going to expect to meet us and talk about the show. And it's a free trip. We should go. He said, no, I can't go. There's a war there. And I have this sick mother in Queens. I said, don't we all? He said, no, you don't understand my mother. I said, well, tell me. He said, listen. He's a musical director. He said, I was going to play on a cruise ship for Cheetah Rivera. Another thing we had in common, Cheetah Rivera. He said, but my mother, I went to her and I said, I'm going to play on a cruise ship for Cheetah Rivera. She said, no, you can't go. I've seen the Poseidon Adventure. She paid him not to go on the cruise. Oh. I said, could she pay me not to go to the Middle East? No, she's not rich enough. So I said, but we have to figure something out. He finally, by the time we finished our tuna, he said, I'll tell my mother we're doing the show in Paris. And he did, and she went to her grave thinking we went to Paris. He came back from the Middle East and brought her a chocolate Eiffel Tower at Auchan on Fifth Avenue. She said, how come it didn't melt? I told my mother in Brooklyn, I'm going to the Middle East. She said, bring me back some sand. She didn't care. So anyway, meanwhile, we're still negotiating, but at least I got him to agree to go somewhere. And finally, one Friday afternoon, we both get emails, and it's kind of very curt and rude, and it's like, you sign this contract now or it's over. I said, David, we have to do it. The money, it was going to come in 3 payments. One on signing, one on delivery of the show, and one on the opening night. Now, the whole opening night was going to be 9 months from then, so it was. I thought, this is fantastic, we have to do this. So he said, okay, we signed the contract, we faxed it off to them, and the next email said, you are booked on Emirates Air Flight 251 tomorrow. We packed. We didn't know what to pack because it was April here, and I thought, what's it going to be there? And so we got on. Well, let me tell you, if you have a chance to fly on Emirates, do it. Yeah. It was so spectacular, and business class was really called Sultan Supreme. It was, the stewardesses were massaging my feet. We were getting every kind of wine. We had 40,000 movies to watch. Well, it better be. It's 13 hours in the air. And we got to know each other on this flight. We decided we would write another show called about Jewish strangers on a train. He'd kill my mother, I'd kill his. We were having a grand old time. We didn't sleep at all. We looked out and there was the Nile. I thought, we're going to fly off the edge of the earth. We finally got to Dubai, and there was nobody there at the airport to greet us. And it was the middle of the night, and it was very hot. Even though there was air conditioning, it was 140 outside. And we just sort of, okay. And we went up to immigration, and there was a sign that said, no entry with Israeli passports. And I went, we're not in Kansas anymore. But we didn't know what to do. And we waited, we called the hotel, they didn't know about us. It was like a big trick. And I thought, well, they spent all this money to get us here for what? And then finally, an hour passed, and we were gonna get on a plane again and go back. And an hour passed, and somebody came and picked us up. No explanation, no apology. We found our first rule of the Middle East. Time doesn't rule the Middle East. The Middle East rules time. And they drove us to our lovely hotel. I looked in the bathroom and I said, David, there's a pool in here. It was incredible, the biggest tub I ever saw. It was not the 8-star hotel, it was only 6. It was fantastic. In the morning, they picked us up and took us to the producer's office in Media City, which is where things like CNN were and everything. And we thought, well, we're going to go to this fancy producer's office. We go up a few stairs, and we're in this kind of a dumpy little office, and in comes the producer who we've never met, a big fat Egyptian baby Huey type, and he goes, hello, welcome to Dubai. And that's it, no more English. That's all, but he had hired a translator, an 18-year-old Lebanese valley girl. And he said, I have big breasts. She came on to me immediately. She goes, okay, he say, welcome to Dubai. I said, it's going to be internet, but no dirty websites. Oh, okay. So she then said, then we sit down and we just sort of look at each other. We drink cups of Egyptian coffee, which is the kind where you can take it and go like this and it doesn't come out of the out of the cup. And we just sort of, and then out of nowhere, the doors opened, and I swear to you, smoke came and music came, and in comes this big, tall man in full Lawrence of Arabia-like garb, and he comes in and he stands there, and we go, oh my God, look at him, you know. And he takes out his cell phone, and he shows us pictures, and they're pictures of him with an Uzi, pictures of him blowing up airplanes. And I said, David, he's a terrorist, let's get out of here. She says, no, silly, he big movie star. He was the Sylvester Stallone of Qatar. He made movies about terrorists. So when it was his idea, the whole show, and it was his idea to come up with the story. He knew the emir's son, and he was the intermediary, and he was the autistic person because he was a movie star. And so he spoke even less English. So she was translating, and so I decided I'm going to put on my librettist hat and figure out, all right, now by now the story has changed from the kid and going to the sports academy to a story about a sultan's son who is very spoiled and is locked in a palace and only wants one thing, a star in the sky. I went, well, that's a little better. It's kind of, you know, but I didn't quite understand what period it was in. I didn't know if we had sultans and their sons anymore. I didn't know what he wanted. So I said, okay, let me ask this question. Why is he locked in the palace? Translator. She says, okay. She goes up and goes. He goes, okay. He say the Sultan's son is very spoiled and locked in the palace and cannot go out into the world. I said, I know that. But why can't he go out in the world? Okay, you have nice biceps. He say the Sultan's son is locked in the palace, is very spoiled, and cannot go out into the world. I said, I know that. But why can't he go? I mean, is there a law? Did he go to one of the dirty websites on the internet? Why can't he go out? Now he gets mad. Okay. He say, this Sultan is very small, they gotta go out in the palace and is locked in the world. I said, when is lunch? We go to lunch. I realized they're never gonna tell me, and it's my job. We go to lunch, they want beautiful spread, beautiful. And she doesn't eat anything. And she's sidling up to me and she's going, you very cute, a little old, but when maybe I come to America? I said, no! I said, why are you not eating? She goes, I'm too fat. They take us in an RV, a recreational vehicle, and we go driving over. They want to show us the beach where they're building the world. I don't know if you've read about it. They built the world. It's like the most unbelievable. So they're building, and Dubai really at this point looks like Las Vegas on steroids. Yeah. They are buildings are going up and down practically in front of your eyes. And they let us out, and we go out on the beach. It's 150 degrees, I swear. I'm wearing a suit, because David said, you have to look nice. and I go out, and I'm faint as I go back into the limousine. I go back to the place, and then they put these books in front of us about all these different things, and we find out what has to be in the show, what must be in the show. And she says, it must be about Pharaonic Egypt. I said, what's Pharaonic? I did the time of the pharaohs. It must be about ancient Greece. It must be about pearl diving season in the 20th century. It must be about the Stone Age. I said, the Stone Age? We're going to write a show about the Flintstones? What do you mean the Stone Age? Must be. And then he gets up and he says, it must be about Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali? The boxer? must be. Okay. And I'm writing all this stuff down. I'm writing this down. And David looks over my shoulder and said, hey, we must be leaving in the morning. No, we must be getting the money. Because I had already gotten payment one, and I said, no, I will figure this out. I don't know what I do. And they're sitting there and they're waiting for us to write the show in front of their eyes. And then finally time goes by, and we look at one of the schedules like we get here, and it says 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock dinner, but 5 o'clock safari. I said, safari? We're going on a safari? We're going to see animals? What is that? And they pack us all up into 2 different recreational vehicles. The producers are in one. I'm in one with David and the translator and somebody who speaks no English at the wheel. And we're driving out. It's now getting dark out because we're a little late. And we're driving on a highway. There's no moon, and right next to the desert, and the guy stops. I said, why is he stopping? Why is he stopping? And she says, I don't know. And then she says, they're very upset because you not come up with outline for show. I said, outline for show? They wanted to design the sets already in the first day. And I said, what do you mean? For they're upset. And I said, okay. And then he gets out of the car, the driver, and he goes over to the wheels, and he starts taking the air out of each tire. I said, what is he doing? What is he doing? I don't know. I said, he gets back in, and the air is out. And I'm going, where are we going? He drives up into the desert, and we start driving at 100 miles an hour up and down 20-story sand dunes. They're like this and going around, and I'm going, ah! And she said, you're such a baby. This is fun. I said, this is not fun. David said, I don't think it's our time that we're going to die. I said, it is our time. I said, they didn't get the outline and they're going to kill us. And this is the way to do it. And we're going up and we get stuck at the top of a sand dune and the car is hanging off like this. He gets out with a shovel and gets out and it's pitch black and there's no light. And I'm going, this is it. Finally, it stops after an hour. I'm nauseous. I'm throwing up practically in the back seat. She's sidling up to me, holding onto my biceps. It was crazy. And then he drove out deeper into the desert. I said, well, now they're going to kill us. They just scared us. But no, we get to an embankment, and they're serving dinner, and there are belly dancers dancing, and there are these British tourists, and there's a camel. You could do a camel ride. So I sat down and I started to eat the roast yak, I think it was, or camel stew, one hump or two, and she's sidling up to me, talking about coming to America again, and I said, David, we're getting up on that camel and we're riding off. But we got up on the camel and we got a photo op. I said, this is it. If we're gonna die tonight, we're gonna have this photo. We have that photo of us on a camel. We went back to our hotel. What the hell was that day? The next day, they flew us to Qatar. Now, Qatar is 1 hour away from Dubai, but time goes back 1 hour, so you really never went anywhere. And we got there to see where they were going to have the show. And the show was going to be in the largest domed soccer stadium in the world. They were building a football field. And I looked at this thing and I said, oh my God, this is so huge. How can we do a show in this? I said to the producer, how many characters do you want? He went, 8 or 900. 8 or 900? He said, you may have 20 camels, 6 Arabian stallions, and 14 falcons. I said, falcons? We're gonna have falcons in a musical? What am I gonna do with them? Yeah. They're gonna peck people's eyes out? They don't sing and dance, falcons. They're hard to teach. Fine, wonderful. I'm going, how am I gonna do this? Meanwhile, we go back to we've gone swimming in the Persian Gulf in between. I said, we're gonna swim in the Persian Gulf, David. He cut his foot, but I loved it. I think I'm in the Middle East. This is crazy. We're at the hotel, and I said, okay, we're leaving tomorrow. I have to give them some idea of what this show is going to be like. He said, how are you going to do that? This is crazy. I said, listen to me. I'm going to do a tap dance. And we get into the hotel lobby, and I realize I'm going to talk a lot faster than the translator can translate, so I better do a show like Cats, where they don't have to understand English. So I said, okay, the Sultan's son is locked in the palace. And why is he locked in the palace? Well, wait a minute. There's the Sultan, but where's his mother? That's his father, but where's his mother? I'll tell you where his mother is. his mother died. His mother died early, and the Sultan was so sad that he wanted to protect the son because he didn't want him to go out into the world. And so he kept him locked in the palace, and everybody gave him gifts and turned him into a spoiled brat. And the only thing the kid ever wanted was this star in the sky. Well, the star will be a character in the show. We'll turn her into a female character, a kind of Bette Midler, Queen Latifah kind of character. You don't see that much in the Middle East. We need something like that, something to do pop music. And then they went, we get J-Lo. You know her number? Yes, I know her number. I said, and then also that star that comes down from the sky will take him on 3 journeys through time and space. One will be to Pharaonic Egypt, one will be to pearl diving season in the 20th century, and one will be to ancient Greece. We will not go to the Stone Age. No Fred and Barney. Okay. And then I said, and then when he gets back from these 3 journeys, each of those he'll learn something from it and bring a gift back. And the first thing he'll learn about his mind and his heart and his courage. And David said, that's the Wizard of Oz. I said, shut up. They don't know that. So finally I said, and then when he comes back, the Sultan can open up the doors of the palace and everyone can go out and the kid can have his bar mitzvah. The movie star picked himself up, and I said, what do you say? He goes, I say, do whatever you want. Do whatever we want, but do it in 6 weeks. 6 weeks? It takes a year to write a musical, but okay, fine, 6 weeks. That means at the end of that 6 weeks, I'm getting this much money. Okay, great, we'll do it. We fly back home. Meanwhile, I'm writing Marnie Nixon's book. I'm riding my bicycle up to her house and writing about My Fair Lady, and at the same time thinking about what am I going to do in Pharaonic Egypt? Well, how am I going to do that? And I decided, well, even though I came up with these ideas, I had to have plots. They were little one-act things. So in Pharaonic Egypt, I figured, well, he'll meet young King Tut, and he'll become friends with him, and it'll teach him about his heart. And in ancient Greece, I had written a musical called Rock Odyssey, about the Odyssey. We'll bring on the Cyclops. We need something big. It's a big stage. We brought on this big Cyclops thing. And for pearl diving season, I thought I was watching an Esther Williams movie, and I thought, an underworld of pearl diving ballet. And so we were going to do anything I wrote, they were going to do. And so I wrote that, and I wrote the show, and we finished it in 5 weeks. Wow. The weird thing was, I didn't care when I started it what the music would be like, and it was good. He was a really, really good composer. And every day it got better, and I said, we're writing something good here, not just for the money. And we did it, and we sent off the show in 5 weeks. We rested at the 6th week. And they wrote back and said, congratulations, our baby is born. And now you will come to London to sing for us the score. London, I love London. But this was now, we were planning to go to London 2 days after the tube and bus bombing that happened 6 years ago. Remember that one? Well, they were there. And I said to David, wait a minute, they're there, and you don't think that. He's like, no. They may be stupid, incompetent theatrical producers, but they're not killers. For that, they have to be movie producers. So we got there. Now, this time we didn't go on Emirates. This time we were on Air India. Lots of curry. They came around with the wines, and the choice of wines is red and curry. So we got there after a whole night of flying into the hotel. We were at this nice hotel, and we walked in, and there were our Arabs, and everyone in London was like this, looking at us. Oh my God! You know, what were they with? They weren't in the Lawrence of Arabia garb. They were in Western clothes, but you could still tell. And so everyone was looking. But I said, so when are we going to sing the score for you? They said, now. Now? We just flew. Now. I said, well, I figured they'd bring us in a room like this with a piano in the hotel. No. They put us into a taxi cab with them, and they drove us to an Arab neighborhood 2 blocks away from where the bus was still sitting, all bombed out. And we went to a piano store. I said, what are you doing here? They said, pianos, you say you need pianos, many, many pianos, choose, choose. I was tired, I thought they said Jews, Jews. David looks at all the pianos. He gets up into the window of the piano store, plays that one, and said, this one's the best. I said, we're gonna sing the score in the window of a piano store? Sure, why not? Everything is the same. And people are walking by going, as we're singing, pointing at us. So I get up into the window of the piano store. They sit down. They have their scripts translated into Arabic. They have their phones and they click it on so that they could record us, and they're texting in Arabic at the same time. And I go, okay, I start the show. Now, I had learned the whole score. I could sing really well. And I'm singing away and I'm doing the whole thing. And I get to the end and it's this really heartfelt finale of waking from a dream. And the kid sings and the doors open to the palace and all that. And I say, and curtain. Nothing, not an iota of applause. And our orchestrator, our American orchestrator goes, tough crowd. I said, the check clearing in the mail is my applause.
Yeah.
Fine, they liked it, they didn't say anything bad about it. But then the next thing was the script. We have some notes, oh goody. So we go into the hotel bar, I order lots of drinks and set them up in front of me, and I listen to the notes. And the translator says to me, okay, it says here on page 320 that you mention Allah in script. Must never mention Allah in script. I said, what? First of all, I don't have a page 320. Oh, 39. Okay. And she said, I looked it up. It said Allah mode. I said, it says Allah mode. She said, what means Allah mode? I said, ice cream on top. Cannot you. She rips the page out of the script. Sound like Allah. Okay, fine. We go through another page. No, pearl diving season is not 5 weeks, it's 4 weeks. She rips the page out of the script. I said, now this is the way to cut a show. Just rip out the pages that you don't like. Finally, it's done, and we get all the approvals. And they said, fine, script is done. Emir will approve, no changes, but now where is finale? Finale. You heard me sing the finale. You heard the big thing and the doors open. No. Must have title song. Now, by this time, the show is called Aspire, after the Aspire Academy, which is the sports academy where the big soccer stadium is. And so it's called Aspire. So I didn't write a song called Aspire. They wanted a song called Aspire. I said, okay, so you want a song called Aspire, but how many times do you want me to say it? And they went, 10 times, okay. And they said, you write, we wait. I sat down and we were going to write a song in front of them. Okay. So I went, you gotta be big, you gotta be brave, you gotta aspire. David said, that's pretty good. And he started at the piano and he went, do, 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 just like a vamp. And the movie star got up and said, that good, that is very good, boom, 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 like disco music. I go, okay, fine. So he writes, I write a little more. You gotta be big, you gotta be brave, you gotta aspire. You gotta give up, you gotta give out, you gotta reach higher. And aspire, yes, that's 6 aspires. And we're writing the song, and we finish the song. And it's really good by this point. And he goes, good, boom, boom, Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin, he loves Ricky Martin. Okay, we finish it, we play it for them, they say, good. Now, you can orchestrate show for 52-piece orchestra, and we will record with symphony in Bratislava. Bratislava? Well, I had to go look that up too. It's in Slovakia. It used to be part of, it's not far from Vienna actually, but I said, why Bratislava? We found out it's cheap. It used to be communist, so now they've paid 5 cents on the dollar. And they had the Bratislava Symphony. They were fabulous. They played beautifully. They didn't play disco so well, but they played beautifully. And as a bonus, they give us the Bratislava Opera Chorus. They're going to sing the background vocals on Aspire. And so David's conducting them, our orchestrator's there, and you hear, you got to be big, you got to be brave, you got to aspire. Wait a minute, David said. Just say the words. You gotta be big, you gotta be brave, you gotta aspire. You got to be big, you got to be brave, you got to aspire. He says, aspire, 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 ass, os. He goes over to the woman who runs it all, and he says, this isn't working. They all have accents. accents. She says, what are you talking about? They all have accents. We're from Bratislava. So they record the whole thing in London. Done. Now we're done with the orchestra. We're done with the chorus. They cast the show without us. First sign of something's changing. They cast it with British actors from West End. They cast Croatian acrobats. They cast Russian ballet dancers. They really were going to have hundreds of people in this show all over the world. So we're sitting back at home in New York. We've gotten our second payment by now. The third is going to happen, but they hire an Italian opera director who speaks no English to do this. He meets me in London. He says, oh, you baby is so beautiful. You will be there to help me direct it, yes? I said, of course I will, but they didn't bring me to Qatar to help him direct it. So he had not only never directed a musical, but I think after I saw it, I don't think he even ever saw an opera or the stage. He was really, but he was going to do it. And they hired a choreographer from Florida who had done nothing but taught kindergarten students how to do Teletubby moves. And she was my only conduit to what was going on. She would email me, and I would ask her, what's going on? Are they rehearsing? She said, well, no. What do you mean, well, no? They couldn't find a piano. I said, in all of Qatar, they couldn't find a piano? I said, how is the cast? She says, they're very tan. They were by the pool. I would get pictures of them laying there. I didn't know what was going to happen, and of course I wasn't being invited to help. Meanwhile, I go off and do Saturday Night at Gross Singers again, my go-to Jewish show in Florida, and I get an email. The Emir of Qatar requests your presence at your show. Oh, wow, he's in. So they fly David from New York. They're flying me from Florida, which means I have to change planes in London. Not just change planes, but change airports. Gatwick too. The other one, and I'm going from Florida to London, which is winter now, and then to Qatar, which is never anything but summer. And I get there, and after hours and hours, and David meets me at the airport, and he says, "Wait till you see what they've done to your baby." I said, "Oh, what? How bad could it be?" He said, "Wait, just wait. Oh, it's going to be fine. I'm an eternal optimist." And we get there to the theater. Now they've built, this stadium is all built, and they basically cut it in half and turned it into a theater. It was the biggest stage. It was like Radio City, and the sets were like out of the Met. Well, the sets were designed by the Italian opera director. He did costumes, sets, direction, and choreography. He was a package deal. They got him cheap. But they were huge. It was like Aida. And I had, everything I wrote was on that stage. So I wrote that a little toy sailboat would turn into a big sailboat. That's a movie thing. They built every size sailboat so that they could take it on and off and make it change. They didn't know how they were going to do it, but they built them. And they were little, they said, we sent to China to build them. And many Chinese people built sets. Many, very. So I get there, and the Italian director says, come on with me, I want to show you the scenery I designed. And he says, this is the palace at Memphis, just as you describe in your beautiful libretto. I said, oh, wow, that's really big. He says, thank you. I said, but how are you going to get it on and off the stage? He said, well, would you please write some more dialogue so I could keep it on the stage longer? I said, no. It's all part of a musical montage, and the music is pre-recorded. He goes, Candy set! And cries. I went, oh, okay. That set never came on. We never, suddenly I was back to my first show. We never got past the third musical number in rehearsals. This was 2 days before the show. There's flying, and there's fire eating, and acrobats, and ballet dancers doing Teletubby moves. And it's the night before the show. I said to David, what's going to happen tomorrow? We've never seen anything past the third number. What's the Emir going to do? He said, kill us. So I asked the producer, how will we know if the Emir likes it? He says, you will know when you wake up. I said, oh, great. So we get all dressed up. We're going to go to the show. Now, by this point, we have not gotten our final payment. So David was wise enough to become friendly with the American ambassador to Qatar, who was a Bush appointee from Houston, great guy who loved musical theater. He would ask me questions like, do you think I should buy the album of Goldilocks? I said, sure, it's Elaine Stritch. And he brought his daughter to the show, and he introduced us to all the foreign dignitaries, because those 1,000 friends were all the ambassadors from all over. And the French ambassador, the Japanese ambassador, Chinese, and they all said, it will be in English? I said, yes. They were afraid to see a whole show in Arabic. They understood English better. And the French ambassador was being lovely to me, and he sits down next to me, but meanwhile, we can't start because the emir hasn't showed up yet. No emir, no show. The emir, an hour into it, comes in with he's a big fat baby Huey guy too, comes in with his gorgeous willowy wife, and they sit down in these throne-like seats. David and I are sitting down behind them in other thrones looking like this. We don't get introduced. There are pictures of us just sort of looking at them. The show can start now. And I just sat there and I crossed myself the wrong way, like a good Jewish boy. And I said, this is it. And it starts, and it didn't stop. I thought it was going to stop. It lurched and lumbered a little bit, but the music kept going because it was pre-recorded, so they couldn't really stop. So the star in the sky is flying in from the back of the theater on a wire, but she's flying in so slowly that by the time she gets to the stage, her scene is over. And then there are two. Now, we never had Muhammad Ali in the show. We had two other sports figures, Zinedine Zidane and Carl Lewis. Now, I didn't know who Zinedine Zidane was. Does anybody else know who he was? Okay, thank you. Soccer. Well, but they would say to me, you must use Zinedine. I go, who? I'd look it up on the internet. You couldn't find it. I finally found a sports fan, and he told me, oh, thank God, I know who it is now. So they had to be in the show. I didn't know how I was going to get them in the show. They couldn't be in Pharaonic Egypt. So I had him sort of whirled into the future at one point, and they flew in, but they never flew down. They stayed hanging up in the sky because they never got them down off the wires. And so they did their musical numbers with up there, one with a football, and it was very funny. And I thought, David said to me, did you write this? I said, I don't know. Whoever wrote it. And then at one point there was something we didn't write. Out come these real Qataris, and they do a traditional Qatari rope pulling dance, which consists of the French ambassador says, intermission. I said, yes, you better go pee now. He came back, they're going, I said, I think we could cut a little of this. It had nothing to do, they hired the Qataris. And so then they said to us, we want you to be in the finale, for the bows, like opera bows. We want you to come out and bow. Well, David and I figured out the place was so huge that from the seats we were sitting, we had to leave at least 15 minutes early to get around the whole place and go backstage. So we're running and we're running. We missed the last scenes of the show, and we're running, and we get there just in time for the finale. And there was an Italian documentary crew throws a camera in our face and says, so what did you think? What did you think? And David says, it's a miracle, a bloody miracle. We go out on stage and we sing, you gotta be big, you gotta be brave, you gotta aspire. And the emir stands up. And if the emir stands up, everybody stands up. He's like the New York Times. Everyone agrees with him. And we had a standing emirate ovation. I thought, this is the greatest thing. I'm going to have a big career in the Middle East. I'm going to play the Baba Ganoush circuit forever. Well, we then went to the party, and David said to the producer, this was fabulous. Really? Oh, yes, very, very good, very good. David said, well, you know, we haven't gotten our final payment yet. And he said, oh, don't worry. The check is in the mail. We went back to New York, and there was no check in the mail. They were going to wire money to our agents and lawyers. Well, we did get these wires, and one number would be wrong. And they'd write back and say, look, you know, there was nothing in there. Oops. They would come back with another one. Oops. The third time, they folded up their tents and went right back into the desert, and we never heard from them again. Really? There was no more .com, no nothing. And what we were left with kind of like, first of all, this incredible experience, this great story, and a little sour taste. We didn't get our final payment. We didn't get it. The orchestrator didn't get it. The little Chinese people didn't get it. Nobody got their final payment, and they just went away. And we tried. We went to the American ambassador. He tried for 2 years. No one would listen. No one would talk. So we did an interview online with a really good journalist, Peter Felicia, and he did a 2-part interview. And he wrote this story, and everyone reacted. Oh my God, that's the greatest story. You have to do something with this. I said, what are we going to do with it? It's got camels and falcons and flying. And we write shows. And then David said, well, that's it. Who are we? And I said, a couple of schmucks. He said, no, besides that. He said, we're 2 short Jews who write musicals. So we wrote a show about 2 short Jews who went to the Middle East and wrote a musical. We changed our names. It's got 5 characters. So David became Jeffrey, Stephen became Michael. Why? We changed all their names to protect us. And we wrote this show. It got on where? In Texas first. It won awards there. It got on off-Broadway, the same exact theater you're coming to tonight. And it got a CD, which I have here, many copies of. The Road to Qatar, it's called. It's the Bob and Bing movie that you never saw. Bob and Bing go to the Middle East, and the Middle East hits back. And even better than that, it is under option for a movie. So Tom Cruise will play me. So that, my dears, I asked them, I said, wait a minute, how did you find me? And they said, your website. I said, I guess Stephen Sondheim doesn't have a good website. Okay. And then I thought the moral of this story is always have a good website and always answer your email. And that is how you get a show out of a show out of a show. Thank you all very much.